This thing always says I'm live, and I'm never live when it says I'm live. All right, folks. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the bottom line. I'm Michael Noland. Tonight is Tribal Forum number 34. Now, tonight I got a couple of things I want to cover. And as a matter of fact, that's what tonight's stream is really all about, is covering a lot of things. All right. I got the idea right after I did my last stream, and I'm just catching up here, folks, and I'm letting people dribble in. But tonight we're going to be talking about um, the year 2025 and what it's brought us so far. We're almost halfway through the year. I explained in my members only video. I hope a lot of you got to see that. I know not all my members have seen that, and it it's true that I put that video out rather late, but I was forced to do my latest video and that video at the same time. And my latest video was of such a timely nature that I had to get that out first. And so it was after midnight by the time I got that video out for you guys to give me interaction on what we're going to cover today. But for all you new members, and by the way, a big welcome to Melissa Boomer in the night. It's good to see you out there, darling. Melissa and I go back a bit a ways. She has a wonderful channel, but you know what, Melissa, I haven't been notified of any of your videos. I'd better go over and check and see if I haven't been unsubscribed to your channel. I know that we've had a lot of that problem over here. I'm just jawing as we give a few people a chance to get in. We're going to be talking about the year of 2025 and how the doings of classic rock in the year 2025. That was a lousy explanation, darling. You should have written me better copy, darling. But anyway, I'm talking to my wife. For those of you who are new to the forum, my wife is in the background producing. That's her, Kimberly Noland, talking to you kind folks out there in the chat. All right. So we're going to be talking about that. But we're going through a similar thing, if that is indeed what happened, Melissa, because we're getting people that are being unsubscribed from the back end of this channel. Right now, the channel's still growing. So the loss of subscribers really just has slowed down the extent of the growth. That's all. And we're recovering. As a matter of fact, the channel has just reached 44,832 members. So we are, and I'll explain why that's kind of an important number. We are now at 168 subscribers away from hitting 45,000 subscribers. And I've explained in the past that it's kind of a cool number for me because I count things in fives. You know, when the channel first started, I got to 5,000. It was like, yeah, that's 5,000. You know, as if 4,900 wasn't valid enough, but you hit that mark, right? And from then on, I just counted in fives 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, all the way up to 35, 40, 45. So that's my next goal, right? Because it's important to get to that goal, because if I get to that goal, then I can set my next goal for 50,000, babe. All right. And that's how it's done. All right. So I'm not anti growth, but I'm also an individual who says what's on my mind, especially on the forum. All right. I'm a little, this is unleaded or this is leaded and the other stuff is unleaded, I guess, that I do. I do clean it up a little bit on my videos as much as I can. I'm just as straightforward on those videos, but they're made for a larger audience. This forum here is for those of you who really are attached to this channel. You guys are writing me all the time. You're giving me heads up. As a matter of fact, my last video that I just did, let me get the title, little self promotion here. Then we're going to get on to what we need to talk about tonight. There's no hurry. I don't have to shut off at the hour like I do on Sundays, right? So let's just groove on into this. But my latest video is entitled "Has Foreigner's Kelly Hansen Been Forced Out of Foreigner?" And we're going to talk a little bit about that. The video's doing very well. Currently holding it says 3.3 here, but on my analytics page, when you go to your YouTube studio, you usually have more views there because this is a belated count out that you get, right? So if you see somebody has 700 views, it's been out for 3 hours, chances are they're closer to 1,500 at that time. So anyway, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the video I made before that. All of this is on my homepage, folks. The first six core these they give you the six latest videos. That's how they set this up, right? You go to the YouTube app or you whatever, maybe you're on your browser or whatever, but usually they give you videos and it's the latest six. So the one before that was The Who, Sack Zach. I thought that was rather clever. The Who, Sack Zach Starkey, yet again. Is Roger Daltrey behind this? Okay. And of course, the video before that, where we lost quite a few subscribers. All right. Lost over 30 subscribers the second I put this video out. Now, this video was 5 minutes and 24 seconds. Can you imagine? 5 minutes and 24 seconds offending so many subscribers. And the video was merely a portion, like less than 1/3 of the original video that is on my members only video. So, Melissa, you're a new member. You can go see that and see that in the entirety, and you could even compare the two videos. All of my members can. All right. And this portion of the video just talked about just supposing. And I even turned around my iPad, and showed everybody the thumbnail, which is the thumbnail you see to this very day that I had developed about it. And I was just asking my fellow tribal elders and tribal chieftains for some advice because channel members get a say. All right. They had a say on this new one, and I got only one response, and that one response will be part of what we cover tonight. I was asking for more stories that I could cover from 2025 because I've got a group we're gonna cover, and I encourage everybody now to bring out stories that you think have affected rock and roll either negatively or positively, right? Or I would also like to hear from you if something was positive, could it have been better? And I think you'll know what I'm talking about when we get going here. All right. The video before that was it was a portion of Royce's show that I occasionally share, and that was which one of these classic rock albums sucks. We're not going to get into that too much, but it's a good video. You should go see it. But then the video before that, we talked about Pink Floyd at Pompeii. Is that 2025's best rock album so far? And we're going to talk about that tonight. And then the one before that was WTF? The Eagles get how much per show? And we've talked about that right here on the Tribal Forum, right? Got a really dry mouth. By the way, folks, that tastes good. Ensuing burp. Anyway, that air gets into you, doesn't it? So anyway, that's kind of some of the stuff we're going to talk about. But before I get into that, I always start off with the show to, give an idea or a big shout out to those of you who are keeping this channel going. All right. Now, before this show even started today, let me get my screen off there, make sure I've got the right person here. Before I had actually put my notification for this stream on yesterday. And Oberheim, who I know's out there right now, was the first to respond and give me a thumbs up. I saw that thumbs up immediately, like within minutes after I uploaded the notification, right? And unfortunately, what happens if you put a notification a day or days before the actual stream, the day the stream comes on, it wipes out all communication uh, that you guys type in, because we get great pre-show communications from you guys. You guys are chatting with each other on days that the stream isn't even happening. See, that's what's happening over here on the tribal forum. We want to have a dialogue. An opinion is fine. I'm one of Rock's first, I've claimed I'm Rock's very first opinionator. I'm not a critic, right? I didn't go to journalism school or anything like that, but I do have an opinion. And you're going to hear a few of them tonight. But anyway, it wipes all that stuff off. So come 12:01 a.m., everything goes blank. But I wish it wouldn't do that, because I love your comments. And this is what you would have seen if it hadn't. Right in the chat, you would have seen this. Oberheim, a $10 super thanks. Oberheim, thank you so much. I appreciate that dearly and seriously. With Melissa joining as a member, that's like a $5 super thanks right there. Thank you very much, Melissa. And these folks, now my last stream was connected to Sunday stream. Remember, it was a double feature. Sunday I did my stream, right? And I pledged that if I could get 3 super thanks, I would do a stream the following day, which is why I'm not streaming on my kind of usual Wednesday, right? Today's a makeup for me missing Wednesday because I gave you an extra stream. Actually, I didn't give you anything. You paid for it. You came through. And then we did the extra stream. I didn't think we'd be getting any super thanks or many. And you guys plowed in on that. You'd already paid for it. So thank you very much. And these are the super thanks we got from those 2 streams. Amazing. You guys, absolutely, each and every one of these people are rock stars. That's what I always call you, right? If you get a little shout out on my videos, rock star. That's the best way to become a rock star, in my opinion. You are to me, anyway. Right off the bat on Sunday, we got Bill Hawkins with a $20 super thanks. Then we got Storm Cop, one of my oldest Patreons on this channel, if not my oldest. I may have gotten 1 or 2 super thanks, like, a $2 super thanks here or there, but then he came in, and you know what I feel about you, James. I saw you out there in the peanut gallery. You rock. He came in with another $20. I've got mine on dark mode, and some of the letters are going, blah, blah, blah. Another $20 super thanks. Ben Scheidecker came in with $5. Always there, Ben. I see you out there today. Thank you so much. And by the way, Kimberly and I were talking about how, you and Christian and James and Royce and, oh God, I could name several more of you. Probably I just let's just see, Deuces Wild, Richard Mueller, right? I think he comes in as RWATRC, something like that, but that's Richard, right? You guys keep this stream going. You're always saying, give us a thumbs up, because I get so busy I forget to ask, or subscribe to the tribe. You guys are the heart and soul so far, and I expect that heart and soul to grow. That's what we need, right? Now, all of these people probably don't agree with but maybe a third of what I've got to say, but they like the way I deliver it. They like the fact that I'm honest. I never have to think about what I said 9 streams ago or 30 videos ago, because I don't lie. I just say what's on my mind. That way I don't have to. Now, what did I say to Frank on Tuesday? It's just not me, folks. And they dig that. And plus, I think they like the way that I'm open to dialogue, to hear the other side, as long as it's respectful. All right? So thank you, James and Ben. John Foster came in with a $5 super thanks. Terry Batdorf, who came in just first time I had noticed Terry and gave us a $2 and then immediately followed it up with a $20 for a $22 gift. Thank you very much, Terry. Of course, Rock and Robin Bird, $2. Rock and Robin Bird's one of those subscribers that will give $2, and we're getting a lot more of you, you know, and it's like, I can't afford a book of tickets to send the kids to the European High Wire Act, but I could sponsor half a book, and pretty soon you get all of that, and it makes up in the end. Those $2 super thanks really mount up in the end. And I thank you so much, and I'm just as thankful for those as the larger ones. Deuces Wild, $10. Richard Mueller, we were speaking about you, $5. Michael Boswell, oh man, and Michael and I don't always disagree, and look what he does here. He sends me a $5 super thanks. I see that, Storm. Oh my goodness, $50. Good Lord. Oh, James.
So sweet.
James, thank you so much. I'm going to get to you in a minute, and I want to talk a little bit about James. All right, just for a minute, because I know the crowd is growing here, and we're in no hurry. We're going to get to all this today. All right, and James just financed this into we'll do it. We'll do this one up right. I'm in no hurry. All right. If I start sweating and I can't carry on, I'll tell you what. I'll shut down. We'll start up again. Patrick on his auctions will do that. He'll split up his auctions and meet me on the other one. And we've done that in the past, haven't we? James, you rock. I'll get to your comment here real quick. Talked about Michael. Just the Facts Man, $10. Dan the Man, Dan McNew. Personal friend of mine. I hear little birdie tells me something special's coming. Dan, if you're out there, I'm excited to see that. What am I talking about? Well, the only way you're going to be able to find out, and then you're going to have to wait to see if it happens. What is he talking about, Mildred? Well, go on over to Just the Facts Man. I totally support his channel, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and then you're going to be notified. And I guarantee it'll be worth your while. I guarantee you that. I just saw that, Ben. Wonderful. See the power of the $2 super thanks right there, Ben. Thank you. I dearly am grateful for that. Seriously. All right. So let me get down this list. It's so long today. It was 2 streams, folks. And then we'll get into this. Did we get another one?
Yes,
Bill Hawkins. Another $50.
I can't keep up.
Okay. Easy, guys. She has a heart condition. Well, longtime viewers know.
Oh my goodness!
My darling wife went through a trying time.
So sweet.
A couple of years ago, and many of you supported me during that trying time. She was in the hospital. She had a heart attack, but she's doing fine now. It's the love of my life.
Thank you so
and
much.
she's going pitter patter, Oh, good Lord. And and by the way, Bill Hawkins, right after Just the Facts Man, go over to his channel and sub. Bill Hawkins last time gave us $50. So these are major Patreons that are putting some cash on the line. And I think I've reciprocated in kind, and it is my endeavor to improve everything here. This channel has come, I'd say we've hit, if the first year, which was a blend of me being, I did tutorials on how to edit videos. That's what this channel started off as. Product, I did some product evaluations, things like that. I'm kind of a nerd, you can tell, right? And that I thought, well, that'd be fun. I wanted to start a YouTube channel, and it would give me a chance to get in front of the camera. I'm used to being on stage as a musician. I've given Sunday sermons in the past. He has a history, Mildred, but I've always been in front, so it's pretty easy, second nature of what I do, right? But these people see something, and I thank you so much. And I know I'm spending a little too much time here tonight, but I'll make it up for you guys, for this long intro. but there were so many of you, and if I left anybody out, I just feel so damn guilty. Michael Boswell.
For goodness sakes, son, you just got another super.
Oh wow, it must have come up when I was looking away. Okay, I'm gonna have to finish these up so I can get to these new ones because if it goes too far up, I won't be able to read it. Okay, so Michael Boswell came in with another. He had just done 5, gave us a 10 on top of that, and then a $2, $17 total. Deuce is Wild, $5. Ben Scheidecker, $2. The Power of Two. Overheim, $10. We talked about that. That was the first one for this stream. So let me get on over and read these. You guys are blowing my mind. You guys are freaking blowing my mind tonight.
Oh my goodness.
All right. And it's so good to see some alumni. You know, it's so good to. Oh, it was Melissa who gave us the $5,
Yes,
and I was just talking about you before I noticed you, Melissa. I consider Melissa an alumni. I saw you on James. I didn't get a chance to type in. These days, I do very little typing in, but I still support. Sir James. I still support Caitlin. I didn't get to Caitlin's the other day because I was shooting my video, but I left a nice little note for Caitlin to no, I'm sorry I missed it. I always like to support these streams. I actually type in on Caitlin's, but I didn't get a chance. Sometimes I'm doing research and I go, oh, James has got a stream going, and I'll listen in for 15, 20 minutes. Then I'll take my notes, and then, I'll catch the last 30 minutes. And I noticed you were on that, Melissa. And Melissa has shared, I've shared screen time with Melissa over on Royce in the House. You've been up there about 3 or 4 times, as I recall, Melissa, and we miss you. Yeah, great content on her channel as well. Now, let me, good Lord, if I missed, oh, good. You didn't get out of my sight here, Storm Cop. I knew I was chancing it here. Storm Cop says, with his $50 super thanks. Good Lord. You and Kimberly are rock stars. Aren't you nice? Never forget, we do not always agree on some subjects. See? Now, James has got to be my longest big supporter, right? And look what he has to say here. We don't always agree. James doesn't always agree with me. So why would he do this? We're going to talk about that tonight, James. And I love you, brother. James has been going through some tough times, storms in his area, tornadoes. I was worried about this last series. Was that a little north of your area, James? But man, he suffered. He survived the first one, suffered heavily in the second one, and at last count was getting insurance help unexpectedly in a timely manner. That's the last thing I heard about him. And James and I, we keep in contact via email, things like that. But when we are together, we are the tribe.
Absolutely.
Now that's another thing, and like I said, we're going to get on to this. So you newbies out there going, when is he going to just get on to the thing? This, like I said, I'm not in any hurry tonight, so let's take care of some tribal business here real quick. You say we are the tribe. Kimberly and I have been talking about, as you know, a couple of years ago, I did put out a mug for merchandise on this, but I didn't like who I was hooked up with there, and ordering one was bad, so I cut that down and just didn't offer it. We're thinking of offering a mug, T-shirt type of thing, and I've got a couple of ideas that I could probably bring out, but one of have a bit of artwork, and I wanted one of them to say, "We are the tribe." That's our mantra, isn't it? Right? Guys, and Kimberly, be on the lookout for this, darling. You guys, if you have a snappy kind of thing that you think would go good for merch, because see, what I would like to do is have something to offer for you for your wonderful money. You get something in return. It's just like all those super thanks. You know what? I offered something in return. I did another stream that I normally wouldn't do on my day off. I get so rarely a day off. But I'm a man of my word, and I like the Beatles. They always wanted to offer quality for whatever monies that came in. They had to offer quality to their fans, and you're not my fans, you're my family out there, and I want to offer a good quality service. So let me know. Do you have any snappy things? I forget what it was. I just tried to call up my notes. I had a couple of them here that just kind of rolled off my tongue. Let's see. Oh yeah, yeah, a tribal chieftain mug. Would that be something? Or tribal elder mug, right? And just a cup of coffee, so that when, or whatever it is you put in your mug, none of my business, right? But when you sit down to watch one of my videos, and by the way, this is another thing. We're going to take care of some channel business here, folks. I just got my latest stats. When I first started my channel, I got 2 to 3% of you watching me on a TV. I had worked that up in 2.5 years, up to about 12 to 15. 33% of you are watching me on your television. 1/3 of my viewers watch me on a television. Isn't that something? It blew me away. So, and that's one of the reasons why I shoot in high def. I do color correction on my videos. You'll notice I'm a little more washed out live. Yeah, I've still got studio lighting and everything. We try to give you a good presentation, but we also keep it real, right? It doesn't matter how spruced up or what shirt I'm wearing in what video or anything. It's just me and you and a dog named Boo. All right. Thank you, James. One of my longest supporters, and actually encouraged me in a time when I was down not too long ago. And James, you know what I'm talking about. All right. The channel's gone through some tough times. And with those that I feel comfortable with, I don't hide that. As a matter of fact, when I spoke about it, the channel started growing again. Isn't that wonderful? Just be up there and up front. Ben Scheidegger, $2, the power of two. Thanks so much, Storm Cop, testing this new feature. And Bill Hawkins with another $50. And keep in mind, add the $10 brand. Brendan, was it Brendan Overheim?
Oh my
Gave.
goodness.
Amazing.
Ben Scheidegger just gave a member for a month.
Oh my goodness.
How nice.
That is wonderful. Let me get down here and I'll get back up to your comments so that I can explain this. Member for 1 month, tribal chieftain. Oh, I see. Scheidegger, Ben, you've just upgraded. Did you? Let me know. If you branded a T-shirt or totally buy one, Mike. Oh, totally buy one. I really appreciate you and Kimberly. This is truly a warm place for me to go to every week and talk good classic rock. The Tribe is great, right? Yes, and I didn't see him in the well. I haven't been over there yet. I know one of you are just now beginning a new medical therapy. I told you prayers and thoughts to you. My prayers and thoughts to you, brother. That's a tough time. MS is a bitch. Let me make sure I didn't. Okay, Bill Hawkins with his 50. He says I want to talk about trapeze. Okay, trapeze. I'm not aware of trapeze. Let me know. Give me a look for Bill Hawkins to explain more on this, so that I can address that when I get to the main portion of this stream, baby. Rockin' Robin Bird sent Michael Noland the bottom line gift memberships. Okay, so it doesn't tell me sent one Michael Nolan gift membership, so it's one. So if any of you out there, that's a gift. And unfortunately, the YouTube algorithm decides who to spit that out to. If you don't take advantage of it, it'll respit it out to somebody else. All I can say is, if you're intrigued, click on that. Thank you so much, dear. I appreciate that. Of course, Melissa, Boomer in the Night. I didn't read your comment, but thanks once again. Just here for the content, right? And really, That's what we got to get down to is the content. We got plenty to talk about. And then, of course, we talked about Ben. I think he's upped his membership. All right. Okay, so that gets us through the whole thing. Let me see. We've got about what, 40 some odd, 50, well, 50, 50 viewers from that screen. Looks like 49 on this one. So that's a good place to start. All right, let me grab my notes here and see which one of these stories I wanted to start to talk about, and then I'm going to turn my attention to what you guys are talking about. And I'm going to start. Let's see. I'm going to start with the comments today after Ben's membership. So Deuces Wild. So right around in there. And the question to you is, what do you think about these stories? Do you have anything additional to add about these stories and all of that?
Just gave you a super thanks.
I see that.
Deuce, how
Oh,
wonderful.
and Deuce just upgraded to tribal chieftain as well. Hey, Deuce, I'm sorry that when I did the shout outs, you were on the board of the new, and I still have the float outs. I'm going to have to cease those float outs. We've got far too many. It would take longer than some of my videos at this point. So we're going to go to that window style anyway. But it was my intention to uh, take you off of that and give you at least one more blow because you've been with me for a long time, brother. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can blow this up so it's a little more readable. All right, so first of all, 2025 in general for me has been um, a hit and a miss. I mean, we've gotten some great stuff. There's no doubt about that. Um, but a lot of bullshit along the way. All right. It started with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame uh, doing the fan vote. Fans let them know exactly where they wanted to go with this, right? And in the end, the number one choice from the fans was totally ignored. How do you ignore the number one choice from the fans? And I explained, well, it's because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the fan voting is broken because all what was it? I forget how many millions, right? Or close to 2 million people votes, and that counts for one ballot. And then we talked about how other that there are what was it over 2,000 people who also have one ballot, right? And they're connected, and often they've got entire clubs that'll vote in blocks and all of that. And a lot of those people are from hip hop and rap, their connections. That has been happening for the last 20 years, slipping them in through the back door. And then, oh my God, Jay Z, how did that happen? Well, you know how it happened, right? And so, on one hand, we got Bad Company. Now, I'm not a Fish fan. I never heard them. I know they exist. I know, and I read something that they were kind of like the Grateful Dead. I have a lot of respect for the Grateful Dead, but I'm not a real big Deadhead fan either. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like them or anything like that, but I didn't collect them, right? I listened to their stuff on the radio. Yeah, it was great. You know, if you see them live, well, yeah, they're great. Yeah, I mean, besides Led Zeppelin, uh, the Grateful Dead had to be the greatest, jam band, and many of you would disagree with that and say, no, Grateful Dead, baby, is the greatest jam band ever to walk the earth. And there's an argument for that. But they just didn't turn me on. I'm not a Deadhead, right? And so when I read that Fish was like that, I just never connected to him, right? And so when you see this kind of stuff happening with the very organization that is taking on the mantle to identify rock and roll for future generations, right? 2025, here we are. And the best they can do, for the most part, is give us Bad Company, which should have happened decades ago. All right. And then we explain, and then it's been a year of disappointment for me a bit, folks, for some of my heroes. You know, it didn't bother me too much that Bad Company wasn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because these days, for me, if you're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you're probably in good company. For the most part, look at who they're going to share with and think of who's not going to be up there sharing it with them this year. And when you think of that thing representing us and rewriting it, now you're looking at Paul Rogers, all of a sudden one of my biggest heroes, because he was offered to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame very early on. Ahmet Ertegun, who was also involved at the beginning, at the very bare bones beginning when it was a cool thing. What was that, a year and a half that it was cool? I don't know. I'd have to go back and review. Maybe I should. Maybe that's something I could do on a video. When was the last time the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was actually cool? See, I just made myself a note. I review all my streams, so I'll do that. Type it on in. But anyway, and now all of a sudden he's all flowery about it. His first response to Ahmet was, "Why would I want to do that? I don't want to be in a museum. Rock and roll should live." I mean, that was his whole thing. He was a hero of mine, and now he's all blushy blush. And the only one who is saying anything kind of negative is Simon Kirke, who I never really heard before this year be so critical. He was always the golly gee willikers guy of the band, right? He was the good guy. It was the rest of them that would kind of, have attitude. Simon Kirke always seemed like a pretty nice fella. And even in his complaints these days, he's a pretty nice fella, but he's going, yeah, that should have happened a long time ago. He's actually doing a bit of complaining. So for me, Paul Rogers, he's got to be maybe my second favorite, third or fourth favorite vocalist in rock. I've got to really break that down. I think I did my favorite vocalist in rock when I first started my channel, but I've learned a lot, listened to a lot, re-engaged with a lot, and any top 10 list that I may be creating in the future will be based a whole lot, not only on what I felt before, but what I've developed in the history of this channel as well. I've learned a lot from you folks. Okay. So we have that. All right. And then we have Sammy Hagar, who's got to be in my top 10 of favorite vocalists, hero of mine. I first saw him with Montrose at Winterland, San Francisco. Went out and bought the Montrose album. When I started buying vinyl here last year, it was one of the first albums I ever got purchased online, the Montrose album. And then I think it was on Patrick's the next time. Of course, you got a good price for this one, and that was what? Paper Money? Paper Money, was that the second? Something Money. Paper Money, the silver one. Not as good as the first album by far, but still a fine album, right? So a major fan from way back then. I wasn't a fan of him because he was with Van Halen. As a matter of fact, I quit listening to Van Halen when he was with him. I just wasn't interested. I liked David Lee Roth, but I liked Sammy Hagar, and always have stated and still state that he's the better singer, technically, right? So a hero of mine, and look at how he treated Jason Bonham. Jason Bonham's mom had an accident, or not an accident. She became ill, and it was in England, right? And Jason had to fly and take care of his mom, promising to be back. And oops, Sammy Hagar made a decision, fired his ass, or just replaced him, right? How do you replace one of the main stars? That wasn't promoted as Sammy Hagar's band. That was promoted. Yeah, with an equal billing of all four. His name came first, but it was billing all four. Jason Bonham was on the damn bill. So I think Sammy Hagar did him dirty, right? And so when you see your stars make asses of themselves, and of course, over the time of this channel's history, I've made several opinions known and lost a lot of subscribers doing so. That I didn't think Roger Waters should be, preaching his politics uh, in live concerts, and I made that quite well known, right? Well, he's not in the news tonight, but others are in the news tonight for doing something similar. We're going to talk about that. All right. So again, a former hero disappointing me, you know, uh, but that was last year and the year before, as I recall. But then we get to the Who, and we're talking about one of my, biggest videos was covering this, right? And I think the reason the video did so well is the video also gave background. A lot of the videos that covered the second firing of the Who, it seemed to me a lot of those content creators weren't giving you the background, just the headline to get it done and do whatever. And to me, that's not the way I approach my videos. I keep my mind tethered to these things, and I see a pattern, and then I suppose, and my longtime viewers know that I hit more often than I miss when I predict shit regarding this, and I don't predict a lot of stuff. I'm not a predictor, but when I see the writing on the wall, right, I know. You can just see it, what's happening here. And so we get to the firing of Zach Starkey. All right. Now, in that video, I did not cover because that video was out before Pete Townsend or Roger Daltrey could respond to begin with, right? Now, remember, at the end of that video, I read Zach Starkey's response, and Zach Starkey said, considering being fired a second time by The Who, the following, quote, I was fired 2 weeks after reinstatement and asked to make a statement saying that I had quit The Who to pursue my other musical endeavors. This would be a lie. I love The Who and would never have had quit. So I didn't make the statement. Quitting The Who would also have let down countless amazing fans who have supported me a million times. Thank you a million times over through the weeks of mayhem of me going in and out and in and out and in and out like a bleeding squeeze box. All right, that's where my video ended. Well, or at least that was the latest response from uh, the latest episode of As the Stomach Turns. Okay. Now, keep in mind in that video, I also expressed that in the past, Pete Townsend has stated on the first firing, we covered it here on the forum, didn't we? One of my biggest forums. We covered this. Was that the first time they sacked Zach, that Pete Townsend came out and said, well, I have nothing to do with that. I do not do the hiring or the firing for band members. Roger takes care of that. I'm paraphrasing him, but basically his statement said that. Okay? So the day after my video, of course, Pete's response and Roger's response comes to the fore, and here they are. Pete's statement says, dig this. Now, remember what I just said, folks. I had to fire Zach before, and it was painful then too. But When the collective energy of the band starts to slip, I have to make a hard choice. Zach is still a phenomenal drummer. There is no bad blood. Now I'm just letting that sink in because I know my longtime viewers, that people who've been coming to this stream right now, are just boiling, aren't you? What a filthy, dirty dog liar. And I don't believe him, do you? Because I covered other people's statements before a month ago that pretty much concur with Pete that Roger's in charge of that band. So why this big bold statement? And the latest statement I had from Pete before was flowery. Remember, I said I think Daltrey sent him out to do it, and he's gotten criticism from that, hasn't he? From me, for one. So what's his next action? You got to go out there tough. So I can just imagine, here's Pete Townsend, the dog, Roger Daltrey, the master, got him on a chain, whips him, gets him mean, sick. And here he comes. I had to fire him. I had to fire him before. I had to fire him before. You dirty dog liar. You told us you had nothing to do with that. Disappointing year for my rock. I mean, my God. Pete Townsend's one of my favorite songwriters. Can you believe this? What is Daltrey's response? Well, he says that Zach was too involved with his side projects. Now, he didn't state anything about his drumming, right? Or the mistake. He just has too many side projects that he wasn't devoted. There was missed rehearsals, all right? And if that's true, Zach should have made those rehearsals. To me, you know me, be a man of your word. If you agreed to drum for this band, they'll have rehearsals on Friday at 1:00 in the afternoon. You better be there, son. I don't know. This is what he says. And I'm not exactly a big fan of Roger Waters, another hero of mine. Used to try and match him. He was more in my range. I could hit, as a young man, I could hit his higher notes, So I loved him as a singer. He'd be in my top 15 rock singers of all time. Top 20.
You just got another
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and I'm going to stop it there. We'll get back to Rogers because I think I missed another one, didn't I, babe? I didn't get to that one.
Yeah.
Let's make sure. Yeah, Deuces Wild came in with a $5. He didn't say anything, so that if you had disappeared, that would have been there. I gave you a 10 thumbs up. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. I'm going to have to start giving you guys thumbs ups and everything. See, I'm too busy blabbing here, right? Well, let's see what we got down here. Deuces Wild again. Thumbs up, right? They should give me the option to, give you a heart or something. I know that when you do it on my off or my regular videos, I can do that, but I don't see the option here. Deuces Wild says, most risque thing I heard Kirk say was about Ginger Baker. He influenced him as a drummer, but not as a person. Surprising love my surprising. Love my tribe. Rock on. Deuce, thank you so much. And yeah, that's kind of how Simon is. I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know that he had said that. And you know what? Ginger Baker's one of those guys that I love the talent, wouldn't have liked the man either, to be honest with you. But loved the talent. Everybody's got to love, be a fan of a bad boy every once in a while.
Yeah.
Right? So, but he's, you know what? That just makes him more the English gentleman to me, brother. Tell you the truth. He's coming off quite the, retired country squire. Yes, I don't agree with that, but I would say this, and more power to him. He's showing nothing but class in that abomination they call the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. We're talking about Roger and how he was saying that Zach Stark, you know, is missing these things. But the primary reason was Zach Stark is getting too avant-garde and he's more into this latest thing, this band that Zach has started in LA. Do you know what he finished his statement with? That his interests aren't necessarily with The Who, but to get back playing with his side project, the Roger Daltrey Band, which would include, who is it? What was his name? DeVores? What was the drummer's first name? DeVores. Scott? Was it Scott DeVores? Uh, who is now the drummer for The Who? There's no such thing as The Who. The Who died when Pete Moon passed away. Who said that? Wow. But what a lot of people think is The Who, so I guess that meant, Scott DeVores is now the drummer, and he's been the drummer with Roger. I almost called him Waters again. Remember that night I called Roger Daltrey Roger Waters about 3 times in a row. But too many Rogers in the world. I see that. Oh my goodness.
Membership.
I see.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that great, babe?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Storm Cop sent 5 bottom line gift memberships. Grab them up, folks, if you see them. Find out what this is all about. And keep in mind, like I said in my last video, more and more is coming for the members, right?
Yeah.
You guys are keeping this channel alive. And so more and more of my energies. Now, it won't stop me doing my regular videos, and it won't stop me from doing my streams. I'm just getting busy. That's all. Right? Been waiting for this. I claimed a couple of times, even on the channel, that I'm doing this full time now, but I never quite got to it until January 18th. I can guarantee you, I'm full time now. Putting in double time, folks, on this channel. I'm up to the wee hours of the night researching, get an emergency 6 hours of sleep, get back up, shoot that video. That's what we do. I'm a one-man shop with a wonderful wife who makes this portion work. She's the glue. I was telling her that before, and sometimes I think she thinks I'm shining her on. I swear to God, I could not do this without her. And you guys already know that. I can tell by your comments in the chat here, right? Okay, so let's get back to this idea of Roger. He wants to go back and do. So the very reason why Zach Starkey is not good enough for The Who at this part isn't because he's not a good drummer. We all know he's a good drummer, right? And it isn't because Pete Townsend, the wimp, says he fired him this time. Pete has been on record. Nope, that's Roger. Other people have said it's Roger, and we all know it's Roger because whose drummer came along? It was Roger's drummer. Whose will is being accomplished? It was Roger's will that's being accomplished. See, so when I read these stories, that's what I look for. And a whole lifetime of watching clowns try to put one up on me, right? I could smell a rat a mile away, just like a lot of you folks. You've lived a life. We can smell a rat a mile away. And I think that's another thing that people come to see my videos is like, if there's something smelly in the project, then we got to at least bring it up, right?
Just gave you a super
Thank you, Michael. $2. The power of 2. I've said it so many times. But look how many 2s we've gotten. God, we got to be getting close to 10 bucks. See, there's a $10 one right there. And you can help along. All right. Self-plug there. Sorry. So anyway, this whole thing stinks. Now, what does Ringo have to say about this? Well, really, I don't give a shit. All right. I really don't. But I'm a content creator, and I knew one of you might be asking or bring it up, right? Ringo says that he actually kind of advised Zach not to get involved in that band And not because of Pete Townsend, but because, and he said, Roger Waters isn't always the most positive person to be around. Ringo freaking Starr said that. Mr. Oh gosh, the nice guy of the Beatles said that.
Hey, hon,
Yeah, baby.
did you read what Michael wrote?
No, I didn't get to it.
You're a gentleman. Tops. I love it.
Oh, man.
Michael, you're so wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank God
Did
for
you hear that, Michael?
Thank God for you.
Yeah. She said, thank God for you. Thank you. And Michael,
Amazing.
you too are a scholar and a gentleman. Every once in a while, I'll write that into my. It's just one of my lines. I've got all these pop culture lines that come bubbling out of me, right? So now, then I did a series of polls before we get on to this. See, there's a method to my madness, and if you're being patient today, you're going to go, "Wow, what a tangled web he wove," or at least that's my hope. Okay. Let me get that off to the side here. And where were those results? Actually, I don't even need to do that. All I have to do is go over here and hit posts. All right. Okay, so I ran a 3-part poll. Now, we didn't get like thousands of replies, but altogether, let's see, we got, that's going to be 6. So 13, 2,100 votes between the 3. All right, so 2,000 votes all told, but all of them running about 800, 700, 500, and then 800. And they weren't meant to be a major thing. I just wanted to get a taste to set up this stream. All right. So now dig this. The first part of the poll was how, because this is going to get us on further. We're talking about, now remember, we're talking about 2025. All right. And I talked about a couple of disappointments so far. But I did say that 2025 is kind of bittersweet. So there's been some good stuff as well. But is it necessarily great news or so-so news? And shouldn't it be better news is my question. So the first part of that, let me make sure, part 2. Yeah, the first part 1, it didn't say part 1, was how interested are you in becoming Led Zeppelin, now available to purchase? Now, you could vote one step ahead of you, already bought it digitally, brother. Or you could vote, I just ordered my copy. It's a must have for any Zepp head. Or I saw it in the theaters. And that's enough for me. In other words, not interested. Or the fourth option, I was never interested in the damn thing to begin with. Gee, I wonder who wrote that copy. Kimberly's, she's snickering away. Sounded so Michael.
Yeah, you're so cute.
That's about it, right? 10% of you bought it digitally. I haven't got a physical copy yet, and I'm one of those 10%. I bought it digitally. Been reviewing it. Love it. Love it. Love it. But I got some criticisms, and I haven't heard anybody do a big breakdown on that. And that's one of the reasons I bought it digitally. It's going to be a future video, right? It's not the big news anymore. So it'll be one of those videos that I do knowing there's a danger it won't get that many views, but I want to talk about what I want to freaking talk about, right? 10%, 15% said that they've ordered. So a quarter of you are buying this one way or another. Another 20% of you actually made an effort to see it in the theater, but you don't want to own it. So that makes 25, 45% of you have any interest in this. 55% of you, over half of you, 5% over half of you wasn't interested in the damn thing anyway. And yet you're responding to a classic rock channel. And this is Led Zeppelin, right? And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Led Zeppelin And we're going to talk about this too. Part two. How interested are you in buying either the film or album Pink Floyd at Pompeii? All right. So on this, we got 25% of you saying right off the bat, I'm buying both. So am I. All right. I already own it digitally, and I canceled my order, and they finally gave me my refund after about 2 weeks. You dirty dogs! And I reordered it from Walmart, right? And got it for about half the price that it would have cost me when I ordered it from uh, uh, Pink Floyd to begin with, right? And they couldn't get their heads out of their asses and send it to me. So that comes next Wednesday. So hallelujah. By the way, folks, uh, I just picked this up last time I was at that secondhand store. Got it, the final cut. And I also picked this up yesterday, right, before I shot my video. And I know I'm mirrored wrong here, folks. It's sad. I haven't been able to fix that. But of course, wish you were here. So that'll give me what, 6 or 7 of the Pink Floyd albums now that I'm rebuying vinyl, right? And I got both Pink Floyd albums for about the cost it would have cost me to order it straight from Pink Floyd and have it sent. Supporting them directly. They've ruined their legacy, as far as I'm concerned. It's sad, but 9% of you said I'll buy the film, but I'm not interested in the album. That was the lowest percentage. 14% of you said I'll buy the album, but I'm not interested in the film. And then, not really interested in owning either. I'll stream what I want. 52% of you. Now, I did include I'll stream what I want. And we know that these films are going to be, and albums will be streamed. And that is a valid point. And I think people might have been paying attention. And I'll go over some statistics on both of these projects to prove my point there, because it's not as dismal as this as the poll indicates, right? Then I got to part three, all right, and that was, who do you think really wanted Zach Starkey out of the Who? Yeah, babe.
Storm Cop said he just got a notification that Royce in the House is going live in 30 minutes. Cool.
I didn't know that. You know what? Royce did tell me that he may be doing some members only videos, and often his pre-release videos he'll release live, right, as a premiere. That may be what's going on. I do know he's got a couple going on. We've been in contact recently, so more power to him. As soon as I'm through with my stream, I'll head over there and watch it, and I'll make my comment.
Storm Cop said something about a stolen bust.
A stolen bust. Oh yeah, I just saw a story on that. I'll keep my mouth shut. Okay. This is Royce's show on this one.
Okay.
All right. Good luck. Break a leg, brother Royce. And that might explain why I haven't seen Royce in the. He's busy. He's running his channel. He's a content creator after all, right? Okay. So where was I here? The polls. All right. I was back. I wanted to get back to the polls here. So who do you think really wanted Zach Starkey out of the Who? 24% of you voted, I think it was a mutual decision between Townsend and Daltrey. 15% of you voted, it was Pete Townsend. He made the statement, and he did, didn't he? It was his idea. 4% of you said Zach Starkey deserved it. His drumming wasn't up to par. I'm surprised he even got 4%. He's a great drummer. All right, he's not Jason Bonham, but he's great. He's great. I've heard him drum. He's good. All right, good pedigree too, huh? But over half of you, 7% over half. Why does he do that, Mildred? 57% of you voted Roger Daltrey wanted his own drummer, Scott DeVores, all along. Before I ever made my thing here. I did some surmising on those videos, right? But before I ever did this stream, this is how you voted. This is, you've already done this. 57% of you, 800 of you voting. That means well over 400 of you responding think that it was Roger Waters all along, right? So that gets me over to some screenshots that I saved regarding these albums and everything. Let me make sure I've got this and what's going on. Yeah, I want to make that point, and let's see. Where was that? Yes, okay. And the DVD. See, when I made screenshots for the poll, it whacked everything out of shape here. Okay, so there's the beginning. Which one of these do I want to go? Okay. Yeah. How well, now keep this in mind. I did my questionnaire on Pink Floyd, the film, the movie, and the album, right? And in the poll, you would think there's not that much interest in it. So I went, that shocked me. So I go, well, it can't be doing that bad. I mean, uh, this doesn't sound right. So I looked it up, and it looks like the Pink Floyd Pompeii film and its accompanying live album have been a commercial success. The film's release in the theaters, a 4K restored version, grossed $6.4 million worldwide in its opening weekend, with 2.6 million in North America alone. All right, so about a third of that in North America. Now, the album released on May 2nd. What date is it? 22nd. 20 days later, I haven't got my damn album. Also debuted well, selling just over 20,000 copies in the first week in the US. It also achieved high chart positions on Billboard, including a #1 debut on indie store album sales and a #2 debut on vinyl albums. And I think it hit #3. Store albums. Yeah, #1 on indie store albums and 20,000. I thought I read somewhere where it actually hit #3 on Billboard. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it hit #3 on Billboard. All right, for a classic rock album by a band that hasn't been together for decades, and it's a live piece, right? Uh, that's pretty damn cool. Now you can understand why people would be interested in the film because it has them leading up to Dark Side of the Moon. There's plenty of footage of them recording Dark Side of the Moon, so it almost becomes a companion piece there. Just for that, I would have thought the film would have done better than the album. But that 6.6 million, if that had been Captain America, that would have been a failure. But as rock documentaries go, and with 1 billionth the budget to produce these things, they turned a pretty penny. All right, and everybody was talking about it. It seemed like everybody that in the rock fandom community made at least a decent effort to see it in the theaters, and if they can't, they're buying it, and evidently doing so in droves.
Good. Caitlin's in the house.
Hi, Caitlin. Were your ears burning, darling? I was talking about you earlier when I first started my stream. I said that I had apologized to you, made a note on your last stream because when you and James were streaming last time, I was busy shooting my last video.
She said darling. She's doing good. They're just waiting to see if her mom needs surgery.
Oh, yes.
So we said we'd say some prayers for her.
Oh, absolutely. Prayers and thoughts, always. And I believe in the power of prayer. A lot of people go, yeah, you always say prayers and thoughts, like that does anything. How would you know?
It does.
All right, I think it does.
Everybody on this tribe is.
And at the very least, who the hell is going to complain about good vibes? Yes. They're out there, folks. I'm not going to cover one of them tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay, so then I started talking about becoming Led Zeppelin. Now, I haven't finished this film yet, about halfway through. All right, and got some thoughts on it. And the reason I purchased it digitally is because I've got some thoughts on it. All right. Now, I asked, how's the DVD sales going? Because Led Zeppelin performed even more dismally than Pink Floyd in the poll. And it says the DVD release of Becoming Led Zeppelin is selling well. The documentary released in IMAX and later on DVD and Blu ray has been a box office success. It did make $10 million, so it made more than the Pink Floyd in the United States, 13 million worldwide. Again, Led Zeppelin's main, Led Zeppelin, man, comes from England, but without the States, Led Zeppelin, man, we've always been their bread and butter. Even in the Led Zeppelin becoming Led Zeppelin, that was what Robert Plant even said in the movie. He said, I didn't care. All I knew is America had everything I ever wanted in life. I wanted to be there. He was jonesing for it. This is right after he was homeless, right? See, you got to go see this film if you haven't seen it. All of this is part of a story, folks. I love stories of rock. Okay, so 10 million, 13 worldwide. It's also considered the highest grossing post-pandemic opening day for a documentary. Okay, boy, that category has a longer title than probably the list underneath it, right? In limited release, less than 1,000 theaters. Wow, what a subcategory. Okay, but it did well, and it did better than Pink Floyd. And I'm not sure if I think it's a better film. Love, absolutely love, Live at Pompeii, and or at least that's what it was called, and that's what it's called in the copy I have back here, right? But then when it talks about DVD, but it won't release figures on this, which I found interesting. The film also included a DVD Blu-ray, further expanding its reach and potentially boosting sales. So it's not talking about the actual sales, and it's talking about potential boost of sales, which indicates I couldn't get any figures on the sales. I looked.
You
Yeah,
just got from Rockin' Robin Beer a gift membership.
Oh, thank you, Rockin'. Oh, darling, thank you so much. Now grab that. I've said that. It. I know we've had complaints. People going, well, that never shows up for me, and it's not. It's out of our power. If it was in my power, I'd go first come, first serve. You know me, folks. You know, no cuts, no nothing. But the algorithm spits out, and it has its reasonings. And I read that in one place that it actually looks for people who support the channel and stuff like that. But I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is that uh, it does take control, and it all of a sudden will come up. One night it came up on Kimberly's screen right here, and of course she's her own account, and I could have taken advantage of it, right? But I left it open there, you know, and refused it and let somebody else. Well, no, I didn't refuse it because you can either accept it and then take, or just ignore it, and then they take it off and give it to somebody else. Right? That's kind of how it happens. It'll show up there if you get it. Grab it. It's free. There's extra. I got hundreds of videos over there already. Bet you didn't know that. All right. You could spend a month or two just kind of trying to catch up and still not watch everything over there. All right. So, all right. We hit 54 thumbs up. That's wonderful. And we've got 63. All right. Great. The audience is growing. We've hit that first bump up, and we've done it while we're doing the live stream. That may kick it out, and we might get a boost. Who knows? You never know how this stuff works out. But thank you, Rockin' Robin Bird. I appreciate it. Man, you guys are so benevolent today. I appreciate it so much. All right, so let me make sure. So we're talking about now. The reason I bring up these two album sales, and they're kind of important to me. Both movies I like. I know I'm going to love the Led Zeppelin when I finish it. I love it so far. But we'll talk about that another time. And I've always loved Live at Pompeii and now at Pompeii. Always have, right? Been a fan from that. There were two movies I watched as a teenager more than any other movies on the planet, and it was Let It Be by the Beatles, and at the time I think it was called Pink Floyd Live. They didn't even mention Pompeii on the poster, and some posters it just said Pink Floyd, the movie, you know. So the reason I'm bringing this up, and what do you guys think about this? Did Led Zeppelin miss the boat on this one? Where's the album? Where is the accompanying album for the movie? I mean, the business part should, just doing business. Now, I know Jimmy Page said the reason that he allowed the director of the movie to do it his way is he was the first guy that came in and got the spirit of Led Zeppelin, and he was all in on it. And maybe this is just Jimmy being, just guarding the legacy, because it does come off as an anthology. All right. I wasn't expecting so much of an anthology kind of feel to it. This wasn't the movie I expected, by the way. All right. Now that I've finally seen it, like I said, it's coming. We're gonna be reviewing it, but I want to give it a good couple of views before I do that. And the fact that DVD sales for this, and I would imagine digital would follow, being lukewarm at it seems to tend to indicate that is there's no accompanying album, and with the advent of vinyl, doing so well, I mean, it's growing still. It's had its ups and downs, but it's still a growing thing, right? More and more people are getting into it, and it's vinyl buyers who want this album, and evidently enough of them that Pink Floyd is back in the top 10 on Billboard for an album, right? Did Led Zeppelin miss the boat here? That's my question. And I did a list of the songs, and these are only some of the songs that were listed here. It says, here are some of the examples of the songs that appear in the film. How Many More Times, Bring It On Home, Celebration Day, When the Levee Breaks, No Quarter, 10 Years Gone, Bronyo Hour. I know that's not the right pronunciation. It's got a guttural sound. One of you once told me and phonetically typed it in, and I remembered it for about a week, and then it was back to Bronyo Hour, because that's what I've always called it since I was 15 or whatever it was when I first came across the title. And T for One. And there were others. Because I noticed a couple of other songs, and I haven't watched the film close enough to know if this list is accurate or not. Just being honest with you. I had to do the research. And like I said, I'm in the middle of the film, but let's say this list is accurate. It is claiming to be accurate. And why aren't we getting an album with these songs? One from one from two, one from three, one from four, Houses of the Holy, two from Physical Graffiti, and even one from Presence. Why aren't we getting an album and remixed, and let Jimmy remix it with some of the new technology? Have Jimmy, tie in with Peter Jackson's crew, or somebody who's familiar with it. I know he's hands-on and he's power hungry when it comes to controlling Led Zeppelin's legacy. It was his baby from the get-go. There's no doubt about it. But did they miss the boat on this? All right. Because, like I said, the year has been, both films are a plus. I gave you some rock stars that have disappointed me. Here's a couple of projects that I'm excited about. And so far, it's the Pink Floyd project, both the film and the album that overrides the Led Zeppelin. And yet, Pink Floyd's my third favorite band, and Led Zeppelin's my second, but I feel a little ripped off. Where's the bonus material, brother? Right? I don't know. What do you Zeppelin fans think about that? I was predicting, one of my predictions, I guess I didn't get right, unless it's still in the offing, that we'd get an album for this. I just assumed, I think I said it over on Royce's on the panel one night, right? I thought we'd get an album, but we didn't. All right. Then we get to another thing that's happening. And of course, we talked about at the beginning of the stream that I've received criticism in the past. Of course, that was a couple of years ago when Roger Waters' form of politics that was probably, as far as being popular, was at its zenith. And I never have cut him down for his politics. I stay out of politics. Um, and my criticisms was of him talking his politics at his concerts. And I felt like you're holding, everybody knows my stance on that. If you're new to the channel, just watch a couple of streams. I'll go off on it every once in a while. All right. You don't hold an audience hostage, right? You gotta have the brains enough to know that there's plenty of people from the other side of the political spectrum that like your music and might want to see you live, despite your foolishness, according to them, not me, according to them, Roger. Right? I take no sides here. It's just a bad deal. I say the same thing about Ted Nugent. And then I did a video just supposing if I did this video on Bruce Springsteen, because he's over in England criticizing America. You know, when I covered that video, I said, well, he's been criticizing the current administration and using words that I had to bleep out to describe him in the video. I bleeped it out. Bad taste. And he's full of shit. But that's okay. Bruce Springsteen's been full of shit and a target of mine before on this channel, hasn't he? $8,000 a ticket. Bedtime, Betty Boobs with Ticketmaster. I know, I've got the photos. I came in through the window, Bruce, and took a picture of you and Ticketmaster right there in bed together. Shame on you, boy. Anyway, I did that, lost subscribers, sayonara. And, you know, because some people can't have a dialogue about this. It wasn't his politics I was questioning. But now he's back over here again. And I guess the other side, the leader of that faction, had some spicy words, as he often does, back to Bruce. Doesn't matter what it was. Because his opinion of Bruce, I don't totally agree with. Because I don't think he's overrated. I think Bruce is capable of brilliance. I think he's pretty much on the genius level with his best songwriting. And I know a lot of you current viewers do not agree with me on that. A ton of you can't stand the guy. Or the vociferous portion of you people have been making that quite clear in the comments. All right. That you never liked it.
The man is another story.
Yeah. I love the music. The man is another story, is what you just said. And that's me. That's me in a nutshell. You know, I don't care if you sleep with snakes. If you make great music, I'm probably going to buy your album, you know, because I'm a music fan and I love good rock music mainly. But I like other styles of music. But the channel's oriented in rock. And we'll keep it to that tonight.
Johnny Cash.
So the comeback comes. So what does Bruce Springsteen do? Does he go, oh, yeah, Trump? Ooh, I mentioned him. No. No. Just like most of the executives at Disney, just like most of the stars who get projects canceled, or their movie doesn't do as well, Rachel Zegler, you tart. They blame the audience. Right? He was talking to English folks. at a concert in England. I don't think I was right bringing up politics there, but he did it, and evidently a whole lot of them agreed. It's a gentleman's club over there. Oh yeah, it's a Bruce. Oh, we shan't question anything from Brucey. Oh, he's magna cum laude. Anyway, so what does he do? What's his response? He's attacking the fans now. No, he's not attacking the fans. He's attacking a portion of fans. And he says, my supporters, I'm going to read his quote here. This is from Bruce's words, his own mouth. Quote, to all my supporters out there that decided to bow down to this king, to this dictator, again, his opinion, and he's allowed to have that opinion that he thinks Trump's a king, that he's a dictator. If you believe that, keep going with it. I trust you. You're in charge of your own life, right? And I'm in charge of mine. That's cool. If that's his opinion. But remember who he's talking about. Let's back up. To all my supporters out there that decided to bow down to this king, to this dictator that doesn't provide any freedom of speech or expression in America, I say, shame on you. Shame on you. Twice. We said it twice. You are obviously misplaced and we always get this from the alt left, and need to educate yourselves on what it means to be an American. Fuck you, Bruce. Fuck you. I don't need to educate myself on what it's like to be an American. I've been American a lot longer than you have, fucker. I resent being called uneducated. I even went to college once, folks. But I guess I'm just a dumb hick, according to the boss, who writes songs for every man and hasn't been an everyman, but for a little portion, about the size of his dick, worth of level of his lifetime. The man's been a billionaire or working on being a billionaire, part of the billionaire. You know who he hangs out with? Bono and who else? Misogynist and racist Jan Winter.
Caitlin says,
what an asshole.
Oh boy.
How dare you criticize people who loved your music and didn't agree with you?
Yeah.
No dialogue, boy? No dialogue? You piece of mincemeat. Is this what you want from... Are you entertained, I should say? Are you not entertained by these monkeys? Nothing gets my goat faster. Freedom of speech, I'm all there. You want to believe that shit? Go right ahead, Brucey. You're the fucking billionaire, not me. You must know more than me.
Don't mistake us loving your music for total masterhood.
The Billionaire Boys Club. The billionaires that leave a larger carbon footprint on this planet and yet preach to you about not leaving one. That's for us who got the money. When was the last time that guy ever flew? I'll bet you that guy never, before he made it, probably couldn't afford a plane ticket, probably traipsing around some damn van all over Jersey, right? Then he makes it. Surprise, surprise. Oh, how did that happen? Newsweek end time. Somebody had an angel on their shoulder right away and learned to suck titty very quickly, didn't he? So, my announcement is I will still collect Bruce Springsteen music despite your wretched little soul, but I will search for it used. You won't get another dime from me, Bruce. Not another dime from this little pissant, and maybe a few of my followers. Watch your mouth, you son of a bitch. Okay, so we talked about Led Zeppelin, we talked about Pink Floyd, talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we talked about Bruce Springsteen, we talked about Zach Starkey and the Who. We haven't talked about lip syncing. I don't want to get into that tonight. That was just kind of a side issue that I could have gone through. I talked about Sammy Hagar, Jason Bonham, how he treated him. I've talked about everything but this. This came from Brendan, who was the only one that gave me a suggestion on my members only video, where I gave you guys, give me suggestions I can bring up on this. I'll talk about it tonight. And he talked about how the Foo Fighters are treating Josh Freese. He's their drummer, the one that took over for Taylor Hawkins when he died. Man, it's all about lead singers and drummers these days, isn't it? Either lead singers showing out what assholes they are, or drummers getting fired. This is the third drummer being fired. You wonder if he said he got a call. By the way, Brandon, that's all he heard. He said they didn't even get in touch with him personally. Hey, knock, knock, knock. Hey, I've got a few things to say to you. Since you're in the band. No, it's like, oh, hello. We shan't have any use for you anymore. It's kind of a shitty thing to do. I saw a lot of jokes on why he was fired. Some say that evidently he's a fantastic drummer because a lot of the jokes rely on, he didn't make enough mistakes. He sounds like a drum machine. Evidently he's unerring and everything. He was quite in fashion. That's the reason he got the gig to begin with. He's one of those session drummers. As Zach Starkey and Jason Bonham have been. They've been available for tons of projects. I know very little about Josh Freese. I wouldn't have known his name unless Brandon had gotten a hold of me, and I looked up the story and found out a little bit about it. So that's what I found, and no, I don't think the Foo Fighters handled that well at all, and I'm a fan of the Foo Fighters. I love them. So it's been a year of some kind of cool things happening. And here's another thing. We're in the midst of, okay, it's May, right? Late May. So now the concerts are going, boy, right through the end of August. Get ready. Zow. Metallica's here. Everybody's announcing tours. I could have made a list of probably 30 people who are just announced tours this week alone or recently and about ready to embark upon them. What was I covered? Oh my goodness! I just saw another super thanks fly up there, didn't I?
Oh,
good Lord! Let me go over there and find that, darling.
Ben just gave you a super thing.
Yeah, Kimberly just saw it. She's busy responding, Ben. $5, Ben. Thank you so much. I'm having trouble keeping up. Right? He says, word from the grapevine is that Gilmore, yes, is recording a new album. I saw your earlier comment on this. I didn't know that. I just saw this when you brought this up earlier. What did you think of Luck and Strange? I own the CD version and Scattered. I did a review on it. I love it. Good friend of mine. I think isn't that his latest album, Luck and Strange? I believe it is. Let me make sure. I've only listened to it probably 3 or 4 times, and I've had new music coming in, but I gave it a good 3-time listen. It is Luck and Strange. I'm sure it is. I was going to go and check and double check because when you're up here, you'll say something, but you're thinking of something else. I've done that on more than one occasion, haven't I, folks? But Luck and I loved it. Now, a good friend of mine, well, we've never met, but like Royce, we've never met, but I consider Bruce Cologne a friend of mine. He hasn't been making videos for a while. We miss you, Bruce. We really do. You got a voice that needs to be heard, and I think you need to re-engage. But I know you've got your life going. a billion reasons why that might not be happening. But if you ever do re-engage, let me know and I'll support you 100%. And I always appreciate, and Bruce and I didn't agree on every little thing. We agreed on key things that kept us, enticed with each other. Uh, but anyway, when it comes to Foreigner and everything that's happening around that, everybody's getting ready for this, right? We're getting ready for the big show. And then all of a sudden, Kelly Hansen announces retirement. And I'm interested to see what Bruce has to say about this. Kelly Hansen has made a statement. And I supposed in my last video, now keep in mind everything we've been talking about. Keep in mind the Foo Fighters. Keep in mind Roger Daltrey and Zach Starkey. Keep in mind Jason Bonham and Sammy Hagar. All right, just keep in mind all of that, what we've been talking. Jason Freeze, or Josh Freeze, the drummer for the Foo Fighters, or former drummer. All right, so keep all of that in mind. I supposed in my video that could this be, a situation where he was given his marching papers? Now, why wouldn't I think that with everything else that's been happening? You look at the response from Mick Jones, it's very patronizing. Oh, yeah, he was so wonderful for the band. We go on to future endeavors. Same thing. It just switch names. It was, you could take a paragraph out of Mick Jones' response, throw it over to Pete, take a sentence out of Pete's, and throw it over to Mick Jones. It just seemed, like I said, when I smell a rat, I smell a rat. When I see a pattern, I see a pattern. And everybody kind of respond. Well, enough of you that disagreed with me, not everybody, but there was a good portion of you disagree with me saying, oh, he's been known. He's been saying this for years. And I kept trying to respond to you guys saying, yes, I know. I've been reporting on him saying this for years and years, but on top of the fact that they invited at a curious time, 2021, Luis Maldonado to come on as a multi-instrumentalist, and you don't think they didn't know he had the chops to sing lead? That maybe because I think this band is set up.
Michael Boswell just gave you an.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you so
Came out of the
much.
corner of my eye when I'm talking. I'll get right to you, brother. $5. You're wonderful. Wonderful. But they hired him with the idea that I think, and there has been, and I also covered videos where Kelly Hansen's voice, he's gotten criticism. He himself has said it's hard to say. And many fans are saying he isn't sounding at all like he did. And the fact that they said they're going to quit in 2024 at the latest, actually, it's 23, no, 22, no, 21, no. It just keeps getting extended. And then their bassist, Phil, comes out and says that they're going to tour, no, even further than 2025, or 12, we could go as far as 2027. Then in comes Jordy Brown. This is going to be like the traveling Avatar show. They don't need to make an Avatar show of Foreigner. Nobody remembers what Foreigner looks like. Nobody knows what they would look like. When you think of Lou Gramm, the first thing you think is older Lou Gramm, kind of out of weight, paunchy, right? Not the curly-haired, cute-looking rock god with those amazing set of pipes. When you think of Mick Jones, you think of him, he's got the little balding cap coming around, paunchy there, barely able to hold on to the guitar, shows up for 45 minutes and leaves. So does Lou Gramm, by the way. All right, that's the most you're going to get out of this. And then when Kelly Hansen can't leave and there are residency issues, and when I looked at that closely, there's only a couple of things that would stop a citizen from being able to perform in another country, and the one that kept coming up is taxes. Now, I'm not saying but that's the only thing that came up, and he won't get specific, right? So has this guy been in trouble, financially in trouble for a long, an albatross around this band? I just posited it. It's a good, question. I wasn't making predictions that I knew. It was a question to the tribe. And so many of you disagreed. But see, this is where that's the magic of this channel, folks, is I can opine something to you, and you can say, go fly a kite, Noland. I don't agree with you. But I still disagree with you folks out there that say, no, yeah. And then he was on, one of you said he was on Entertainment Tonight, and he talked about this, right? And everything. And I go, yeah, that's right. Believe everything you see. Believe every press. Look, read Pete Townsend's several comments. Don't just read the latest one and take it for gospel and forget the last soundbite. You got to kind of remember and put these things together because, especially in the case of Zach Starkey, he's going, no, they're lying. No, they kicked my ass out. No, they tried to make a statement that said, I'm leaving on my own accord. Why wouldn't I at least suspect the fakest band on the planet, Foreigner, to pull a fast one on one of the fakest singers in the world? Kelly Hansen, Foreigner. He had a great voice. A lot of you think that he even sang different than Lou Gramm. I don't ever recall that, but I didn't watch a lot of them. So maybe you got more recordings, more access to where he'd kind of ended. That would have been curious. And you know what? If they had had one or two members still left, and he had come in and they were still songwriting, and he was writing song, I might have a whole different opinion about Kelly Hansen. But he was just a mannequin with a voice, as far as I'm concerned. And every time, everybody else wanted to talk about, well, your claim to the Foreigner and everything. Are you going to make? And he always goes, we're real, man. Every note comes from us, man. Because, he's in the fakest band that's not real, as far as I'm concerned, if you think about it. So what else could he say? Well, when we play, we're real. Right? Okay, so anyway, there's my kind of general view of what I've noticed in 2025 so far. Oh, one more thing. I did say this, and I didn't put it in my notes, and I wanted to put it in my notes. My favorite band is the Beatles. Just a couple of minutes on this. What the hell is going on with the Beatles? All right, are they really going to release what they're going to release this year and not release Rubber Soul? All right, what bullshit? What bullshit? What disrespect? I've already made, I'm not going to take up your time, but I've made videos. I've told you guys, Rubber Soul is rock's first album. Rubber Soul is classic rock's true first album. The first album put together with the intent to be an album, listened to as an album, without singles or anything else, just put there and intentionally songs written to sound good in a certain way and explore certain things. It is the first modern, true, first classic rock album. It is its 60th anniversary. And the Beatles are talking about releasing anything but. Whew. If that's true, it's going to be a Beatleless Christmas for me. And you folks know how sad I get when there's not something from the Beatles at Christmas. You're going to have to talk me down, man. It's gonna be a blue Christmas for me, right? Yo. All right, let's get to you fine folks. Good Lord, I've been running my mouth for an hour, 45 minutes. She goes, better here than at home, dear. Okay.
Jorge Peter wants to know who's in charge of the Beatles catalog.
Yeah, good question. Who said that? Jorge?
Jorge Peter.
Good question, Jorge. Yeah. Well, Apple's kind of a corporation now. Paul and Ringo have ownership in it. I don't know how much. I don't know what their cut, but they've got a bit of the pie in there, as does the estates of Lennon and Harrison. Okay, and it looks like to me, and I've supposed this before, that Paul McCartney is taking a more hands-off kind of viewpoint and letting others kind of direct what is better. See, here's what I see happening with the Beatles. They're the powers that be, the young bucks over there, and Paul's and Ringo and Yoko and Olivia and Sean and whoever in the hell else. Jesus, I get so tired of his states. If it ain't John and George, I don't give a shit what Yoko and Olivia thinks, or Sean for that matter. But they have ownership, and it's a legacy, and they inherited the estate and all of that. Um, and evidently, there is a focus from the Beatles to promote the songs rather than the albums, and yet it was the Beatles that invented the fucking rock album. So I don't know. I don't know. To me, their albums are works of art. I've longtime viewers know I every once in a while say this. That one should be hanging in the Louvre, right? I always picture, Abbey Road, Dark Side of the Moon, little light on them, like right next to the Mona Lisa. I mean, these are the great works of our time. It's art to me. And some of it's just like masterpiece art. And the Beatles, and if the Beatles hadn't been around, I don't know that the so-called classic rock album would have ever existed. You'll go, oh no, and then you'll start naming your bands. You go, but they did this. Eric Clapton, when he was with this obscure guy over there on the corner, did this, and that's actually no, 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 no. I'm saying, or that. Well, the Stones, if they had been and there were no Beatles here, here's what. No, you don't know because everyone's playing catch up with the Beatles. You had to be there. You had to be there. You had to experience it. You had to read the newspapers and the magazines and listen to the radio and be there in the moment. Nobody was on the Beatles level. Nobody. All right. And if the Beatles didn't exist, the classic rock album, I don't think would exist. It was a natural extension of their power and what they wanted to do. Them retiring from, especially when they retired from public performing and turning it into the studio. They are the prime example. And we're not going to get a Rubber Soul. I keep waiting. Somebody is publishing the wrong story. I keep hoping, even to this late date, surely they're going to release Rubber Soul. As a matter of fact, they should release Help and Rubber Soul this year. But an album can't get a break. Isn't that sad? All right. So good point, Jorge. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's see. TGR says Melissa Boomers and then Dennis DeYoung didn't want Styx to be what they are now. No, he had a direction for Styx that Styx did not want to be the direction for Styx then. That kind of says it, doesn't it, TJ? He had he was a mad genius who relied a little bit too much on pop, but he was the key guy. If they could have reined him in a little bit better, I think Styx would have a far greater legacy. He got a little too much power. They got resentful, and it hurt them. Now they're out touring. I actually hadn't been keeping up with them. Sorry, folks, if I don't do that, my lips are going to glue together. But I did a video on them because there was what was that, a year ago, when Dennis and them were talking cheap stuff, and I covered the story, right? He wants back in, basically, or did at that point. They don't want him back in ever, 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 ever again. Tommy Shaw don't want him in ever, ever, ever again. I guess he just hates the man or resents the hell out of him. Despite his little, compliments, as he says, go fuck yourself, right? That's kind of what he does, right? So I think that's what's going on with that band. And I did listen to a couple of their later albums. Now I haven't listened to them again because I never collected Styx. I enjoyed some of their hits, but I just never quite got to them. They were a little, I don't know. I liked Domo Arigato. That was cool. Babe was cloying. Songs by Journey. When the lights go down in the city, just bores me to tears. Kimberly loves it, right? Kimberly loves Journey.
I do.
There's nothing from Journey she's heard that she doesn't adore. Okay, at least one of us in the family's repping for Journey. So I did, I like Journey's first album, bought it. Oh, this is interesting. Greg Rowley, yay, Santana alumni kind of thing. And then they brought on, who is it? Steve Perry? Is that his name? Babe? Steve
What?
Perry is his name?
Steve Perry.
Steve Perry, yeah.
Was the lead singer.
Yeah. Yeah. He wants back in, I'm reading.
Well, the second. Wasn't he?
Doesn't he want back in?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. So, as the stomach turns. Yeah. So, I wasn't, but I could tell they were talented. I like Tommy Shaw. I always have liked Tommy Shaw. So that's what I see going on with them. But I kind of thought, they're another one of those bands, just like Grand Funk, who should get their heads out of their asses and just get past the past. Everybody in Grand Funk, everybody in Styx did shitty things to each other. It's time to grow up, folks. You're no longer teenagers or 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s at this point.
Get more sophisticated.
You're not kids anymore.
Oh, yeah, I beg to differ.
What's that?
I'm a kid still. Are you kidding?
Kimberly says she's
like
a kid.
Caitlin, I love Christmas.
What's that, baby? She says that's her story and she's sticking to it.
I said I love Christmas like Caitlin.
I love Christmas like Caitlin.
Yep.
Yeah. When we met, I'm not a Christmas guy. Yeah, I'm not a Christmas guy. I swore up and down. We're not celebrating Christmas. I don't want Christmas. I'm not one of those holiday ho 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 kind of guys, right? I'd rather have a great unplanned family get together that isn't on the 25th, and I'll be just as happy, and we could even give gifts. I like that whole thing. As a kid, I like Christmas. But as a kid, Christmas was always I was in a poor family, and it was a time where other kids got tons of stuff. You were lucky to get a new pair of socks sometimes. So it wasn't always, it didn't warm my fuzzies, when I was a kid, and when I got out of it, I don't know. And when I married Kimberly, I said, I'm not that kind of guy, and she goes, oh well, okay, she was allowing that, and I loved her so much. I went to the lot on Christmas Eve and picked up one of their remaining trees after we had agreed not to have a Christmas tree. And I brought it home that night. She was so, and we've had Christmas every year since then. So I love it because she loves it. And that's Christmas to me. And Christmas with the Beatles is always cool. I could always get a Beatle album. They weren't too expensive. We weren't so poor we couldn't get an album for Christmas or something like that, And so that was Christmas to me, But anyway, let's get on to some of your other chats here. I'm just looking for stuff that linked to Eddie Vedder doing the same. Okay, here's a link of Eddie Vedder doing the same defending Bruce. Have at it, folks. It's ridiculous. Thank you, Deuces Wild. Everybody can check that out. Yeah. A link to where, I know, and I'm trying to think. There was a couple of people who backed him up, and of course it's the same ilk. And like I said, Bruce is a genius. I've been a fan of his. I bought all his out. Well, not all, but most of them. He's just one of the, and as a matter of fact, he turned me into getting back into recording when he released Nebraska. So he was a major influence to me as a musician. All right. But this nonsense, calling the other side uneducated, right? You need to educate yourself, right? Earlier statements, by the way, he was saying that the administration was arresting uh, American residents. Oh, that was really sly, Bruce, right? A lot of Americans, matter of fact, over half Americans would say those were illegal aliens. But since they had gotten here and were residents and they were in America, see how he slyly reinvents new phrases to get his point across to a less educated crowd, by the way, because he thinks all of you are uneducated, by the way, not just the ones that don't agree with him on this. You don't believe me? Well, take a look at all the videos. He's sitting on the stage preaching to you. He's teaching to you. He's educating you. Therefore, you, Bruce Springsteen fans, are uneducated as well. All right? Think about that. It's an insult. It's not being a gentleman. You can disagree and then agree to disagree. You can disagree, give your point, listen to the other person, give it a good turn in your mind. Does he make sense? Nah. Or, well, good point there. Modify how you think. Or if there's nothing there to grab onto, be polite and say, well, that's what you think. I think differently, but more power to you, brother. What's wrong with that? No, this guy, this billionaire, this oligarch, right? He's in the top 1%, 99% of you don't have as much money as that man. 99% of every single one of you that I'm talking to, it's absolutely a truism. 99% of every damn one of you have no clue what his universe is about. Have no clue what he can wish for and manifest in his life. Well, thank you, Uncle Bob. How did we get along without you to begin with? Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Let's see. I'm getting the. Damn it, this iPad was all dim. No wonder I've had trouble reading you guys all night. Caitlin says, yep, I heard about Melissa. I heard about Melissa, but that shouldn't be the reason why, though. Oh, I'm in the middle of a conversation there. Sorry about that. Boy, that's what's amazing about this. You never know what I'm going to run into here, right? Great to see this chat and stream. Our troll-free, yes. And part of the reason is as you know, as I get to know you folks, right? And I've got a core people, and we'll be adding them. But we have some moderators. These are people, longtime people, and I want to make more of you moderators. Like Zephyr, I just saw in the comments, but the only way I can do it is if you show up before the show, and then if I see you, make a comment and I can wrench you up.
Dr.
Okay.
Insomnia says your hair's on fire.
My hair's on fire. It usually is. James and I had a private correspondence where he was saying, make sure you get your hair all done. I told him, oh, it's all, poofed and trimmed. That's the last thing I do before sitting in this chair. I go, don't move, don't move, don't move. Okay, don't move. All right, let's see. Funny Roger Distance. Oh, Ben's here with a good comment. Funny. Roger distances himself from the rest, but the rest cling to each other in their echo chamber of nonsense. I will say that Roger does dance to his own tune. The rest of them seem like a claptrap, don't they? That's a great comment, Ben. Damn. I'm glad I happened on this. By the way, it's almost like Russian roulette on how I pick your comments. All right, I'm not picking, oh, I recognize that guy. I'm looking at what is being said and still be able to talk at the same time. It's like chewing gum and walking at the same time sometimes. But that's a great that's a great point of view, because I have noticed that He pretty. That's one thing I do. I will respect him for that. Okay, he does get my respect for that. I don't like what he does. Right, I think he's a prima donna. I think he's forgotten how to write between the words like he used to do amazingly. See, art should it it should be something that can be translated. They, it's art, or at least the best art for me is something that you could pull out for yourself. What does the viewer, what does the observer, what does the listener get out of it? And if you've seen any of my videos, I do. I get pretty flowery about how I view certain albums, and I did this whole video on how uh, Aqualung by Jethro Tull is a concept album. Side one is the childhood of the character Aqualung. I don't know that to be true, but damn it, if that's not the real story of that album, I I wouldn't know what it would be. You know. And it's an entire literary work, great music, masterpiece, right? So I will say, in regard to Roger, at least he does think along his own lines. He chooses his own targets, and he's been doing it for so long, it's ridiculous. What Bruce Springsteen is doing, what is her name? Uh, what is that? Uh, that woman that fooled us so long that she was just such a cutie pie, and oh, I'm the biggest Paul McCartney fan. Oh, it's and now
Heather.
Huh?
Heather.
No. The TV personality, and she moved to Ireland.
Oh, I can't think of her name. Oh.
Good Lord. She used to have her own show, and she was all prim and proper, playing a part she never was. Lied to us, a total fabrication of what
Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Thank you, Shay.
Off to Ireland and can't wait to bitch about the president. Off to England, can't wait to bitch about the president. Educating the European continent. That's our gift to Europe. Oh, I'm sorry, England. And brethren from Ireland, I'm Irish as they come. I'm sorry about Rosie, but better you than me. She's your problem now, baby. All right?
Yes.
Ugh. And everything is about, oh, God, no, I'm not going to get to start with her. She's too easy of a target. Jesus, has anything not stupid come out of that woman's mouth with a frown? Look, this is her, right, babe? Look.
Yep. Yeah.
Do I have her lips down?
She looks constipated.
No. It's really bad. America sucks. God.
I know.
Jesus. Ireland's loss, our win. That's all I can say. Boy.
They don't want her, though. They've said.
No, I know. They do men on the street interviews over there. I've been watching them.
McGregor said send her home.
Yeah, send her home. We don't want her. Yeah, good Lord, no, we don't want her. Look, we just got rid of her, man. If you guys send her anywhere, you go send her somewhere where she can, yeah, send her into the Gaza Strip. Oh, yeah. We'll see how long she survives there.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They probably wouldn't like her ilk, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but yet, anyway. All right, well, let's see what else you have to say here. Dennis DeYoung was not fired from Styx. They would have done tours every few years and do 50 to 60 shows a year and make new music if they hadn't. Right. Okay. If Dennis, I agree with you, TJ. And I've even said that in my videos. I think that that's exactly what they should do. Just get their heads out of their asses, make up, kiss, hold each other's hand, go down the aisle, and then set up it'd be a big major tour. Same thing with Grand Funk. I've been saying that for years now. That's a tour that would sell, because they were known to be a live act. I mean, so much of them, they did studio albums and all of that, but many of the Grand Funk fans loved them for their live act, as well. All right. Let's see. I think that's about winding it down. I've gone over 2 hours.
Yes.
And if I'm going to at all, by the way, folks, live in the Central Valley of California. So I was, cooling this place down. We have to shut down air conditioning, otherwise it makes noise picked up by the mic. And I don't like that in the background. I try to give you something as professional as I can come up with. And so I've been working in the heat here. Not as bad as the last time though. I actually kind of did better. But we're in the middle of it's getting into the 90s, and our particular home is not well insulated, either in the winter or the summer.
Well,
And so outside weather comes in pretty quick, right? And so I was amazed. I go, well, I'm bound and determined to do 90 minutes. I've got to at least do 90 minutes. I did better than I thought I did. And went places I didn't exactly think I would. But some things just piss me off. And I don't like it when one group of people have to degrade the other side as being less than somehow. I thought we got past that with civil rights and everything, but now it's well, I'm not going to go there. I thought civil rights was a step in the right direction. Still a firm believer in that, right? Let's get back to that. But civil rights goes for everybody, not just the once disenfranchised, for everybody. It's supposed to fix everything. It's supposed to equalize everything. You don't bring one group up and then destroy the old group because the old group was in charge and make them less than. You bring the other group and you equalize things. Does that make any sense to you? Or is past sins something that need to be paid for by entire groups of people? Right? Billionaires telling us what to think, actors telling us what to think will never freaking fly with me. Not in a million years. I'm too busy making up my own damn mind. Guys, I love the hell out of each and every one of you. We had great things. And it was Tim Henry of Music Life. Rush was one of the few bands that each member had so much love and respect for each other. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. And they had the best lyricist drummer on the planet, I think. And I think it was Tim. Yeah, it was Tim that was saying you're going into therapy, Tim. I hope all is going well for you. And thank you for your kind comment about the channel. Tim is a new acquisition, or at least he's newly revealed. Some of you may have been here for years and just never made a comment. What's that, baby?
Tim Henry of Music Life.
Yes. So I'm glad I got to one of your comments. Jorge, Irgesplitten is also, I just found out. Irgesplitten, I just made a note. I even told you I got the note. I think it's Deuces Wild, but I'm not sure. Let me double check because I did make that note. Where did, let's see. Oh, I didn't go up far enough. Yeah, Gear Jam. Sorry, it wasn't. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I double checked. Now, Gear Jam has been with the channel for a long time, right? And so I've been corresponding with him through the comments of my videos for a couple of years now, maybe 2.5 years. It's been a while. And so I'm glad to see that you're in. He sent me a note saying that Irgesplitten, I am Gear Jam. I just didn't commit it to memory yet. I even said, look for Irgesplitten today, didn't I? So I could give him a shout out as Gear Jam.
Did.
Then I got into this and I couldn't remember your name for a moment there. But yeah, Gear Jam, and I appreciated your support. Always, you people who, first of all, you've seen a lot of super thanks coming today. You blew my mind, first of all, and I appreciate it. Every cent goes to making better videos, keeping this studio going, and keeping me on YouTube. Swear to God, straight up. I have done a reverse course with this channel, still making videos for a wider audience. That's not going to change. but I took a different direction with the channel starting in January. Last year, I took a different direction by including polls and shorts. And so I've slowly developed this channel where if you go to my channel page, you can participate in polls, you can watch shorts, you can watch members only video if you're a member. You can watch my regular videos that you've always watched. You can watch streams. There's something for every member of the family, right? So all I can say is let everybody know about the world's best kept secret. The bottom line, the tribe. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a prompter, but tell somebody, okay? Because we are less than 200 away from 45,000. Then, as a tribe, we can set our goal on 50,000 subscribers. That, to me, if anybody told me that I would one day have a YouTube channel that was anywhere near close to 50,000 subscribers, I would have told them, oh, go on. Not little old me. So I want to thank you. It's not me. I could make this shit to the wind. Nobody would watch it. You guys are watching it. So number one, all those wonderful super thanks. Bless you, bless you, bless you. You are really helping us out of a tough spot. Now, I will say this. The front line is always you, the viewer. If you're watching this, that is the first line of defense. That is why I do this. Is so somebody out there in the void will watch me, right? So for watching me, I thank you. For giving me thumbs up. We're at 78. Okay? 78. We're 22 away from a second bump up. So if you're watching this stream later, give me a thumbs up. 79. 79. Yeah, one of my best friends is Cole Burnett. He taught me my first 6 chords. He goes, Michael, you talk like William Shatner. I don't try it, but every once in a while I see it coming out when 79 Spock, that type of thing. But he goes, yeah, but since you talk like that before Star Trek came out. Oh, Lord. So it's so good to see. I just want to see if I can see any people I haven't seen, and if you've been here for 4 or 5 streams and I haven't seen it, notice I spend most of my time. Then afterwards, Kimberly goes, oh, yeah, so-and-so is really up on fire. I hear the whole story after, right? But today we just as, comments going, we heard from Jorge Pita, Oberheim, Stormkopf, Michael Boswell, Kimberly Noland. She sounds cute. Oh, Melissa, Boomer of the Night. So good to have you on board as a channel member. Go to her channel, look her up, and subscribe to her. She's of the tribe, folks. Caitlin, go to her channel, sub her up. Caitlin, I've known Caitlin as long as I've known Royce, right? Kind of met Caitlin through Royce. Maybe I knew Royce a week before or 2 weeks, but Caitlin came out of that, and she has supported me so much, and I support her channel. Sorry I couldn't make your last one stream. I was shooting a video at that time. TJRS Classic Rock Corner, right? Great channel. Wonderful channel. Actually, I've actually been over to his. Please go over there. Man of opinion. Why do I like that? A man with an opinion. I love it. Open discourse. Love that. Zep Earl. Zep Earl is actually one of my featured channels. I've got 4 channels that I feature. Royce in the House, Soul Train Bro, Canadian Stud Muffin, and Zep Earl. All right. I love Vance is his name. Still connected to the concert scene. Big Zep fan. So him and I connect on that. Plus, he's just a nice guy. Occasionally, we'll get him on Royce. He has commitments elsewhere. Go to his channel. He's wonderful. Julio Her knew, I think. I think of Linda Constant or Stevie Nicks. Well, it's good to see you, Julio. Let's see. Irger Splitten, who we know as Gear Jam. See, if I say it enough times, Gear Jam, I'll know that. So in the future, if you see me saying Gear Jam, folks, just look for Irger Splitten's comment, and you'll know what I'm responding to. Who else do we have here? Rockin' Robin Bird. So many of these people gave us super thanks to Ben Scheidecker. So many of these people are either tribal elders or tribal chieftains. And we are going places with that. Oberheim, of course, Deuces Wild, Michael Boswell, Tim Henry of Music Life. First time I had a chance to commune with you a little bit, brother. Uh, uh, Hopes and dreams and prayers and thoughts and all of that seriously. And it's good to see you being proactive. You work with what you got, don't you, brother? Mark Guerin. Now I think I saw you in a couple of comments before. Maybe not. Mark Guerin sounds familiar, but welcome, Mark. We also had. Let's see who else. I'm just going down here. So many of you made so many comments. PRD 004.2. What does he say? Stick to the original. They're auto tuning the Beatles re releases. I heard something about that. Didn't have time to look into it, but I grabbed an article or two, pinned it over into my notes, and I haven't had a chance to look into it. Boy, yeah, here we go again. Actually, auto tuning started years ago. I think they did some auto tuning with uh, Get Back, or not Get Back. Should have been Get Back, but Let It Be Naked. Uh, I think John's vocals there went sour on one thing, and his bass playing on one song. Uh, and Dead Set Against It. Let's keep the original. Do what you can to make it sparkle. I'm okay for that. Don't remix it to the point of unrecognition. You are touching the holy when you're touching Beatle music. So thanks for checking in, PRD. Let's see who else. Doc Somnia, you said you weren't going to make it. It's good. You had. Have a holly jolly Christmas. That's the best time of the year. All right, brother. He said he was working. I must have streamed so long tonight that Doc Insomnia had a chance to get off work and join us. Thanks for coming in. He had left a message. Yeah, well, and then often he'll catch up on the replay.
Prog Corner checked in tonight.
Who?
The Prog Corner.
Ah, Scott Lade. Love your channel, brother. If you're still out there, yeah, Scott Lade knows way more about prog than I'll ever know, right? And knows a good deal about regular classic rock as well. Well done. I know he's hampered by still working a real job, and he's expressed uh, some frustration not being able to give in to his channel what he really liked to sometimes, or at least the last video I heard him talking about this stuff. That's what he said. And I can hear that frustrations, even when I've had this channel, family things have gone that have pulled me away from it. And it is frustrating. But Scott Lade, class act, total class act. Love you, Scott. Let's see, who else do we have here? Just wanted to make sure I get everybody before I sign off. Okay. James Redding. Too much ego in music, he says. I agree, James. James often comments on my videos and did quite a bit of commenting last night, James. I tried to keep up with you, brother. Let's see. Who else? I'm just kind of going through whoever I may not have, acknowledged for coming in and actually making a comment. I mean, that's wonderful. Rockin' Robin Bird.
Insomnia said this chat is almost as long as physical graffiti.
Yeah. Michael Noland, the triple album. Oh God, people need that like a hole in the head. Oh. But Rockin' Robin Bird, who I mentioned earlier, but I don't think I've given her a shout out for coming into the chat. I think I talked about Michael Boswell. Bill Hawkins, of course, but I don't think I mentioned him on this thing. Blackjack Music, hey, it's good to see you, Blackjack. Blackjack's been around for a while with the channel, right? Yeah, I've seen you in the comments many times. Who else do we have here? Just making sure. I'm just scrolling down. Because at this point, somebody would get their feelings hurt if I didn't say anything. Yeah, just want to make sure I got all of you fine people. You've made this stream just wonderful. So many of you are just so tied into it. Oh, Trajan or Trahan or Trajan. I'm not sure. Trahan? Why do I want to? Trahan 69, one of my favorite numbers. If Zach is missing rehearsals, is that grounds for dismissal? Yeah, and it would depend. Are they getting ready for the? Is it chronic? How long? He's done that. And by the way, has Roger and Pete ever missed rehearsal? Yeah, well, we're the bosses. Oh, well, then we're not the Who, are we? Because two Who don't make a Who. Ask Horton, right? RBR, good to see you. The Retro Beat Repository. Moderators are a blessing. Absolutely. RBR, get in early. I'd make you a moderator. Absolutely. Anytime that you show up. Witchmaster, love the mullet, Michael. Well, you know what it is? It is what it is. It's not cut in layers. It's just all one length, and I just let it hang, brush it out of my face, put enough hairspray just to keep it up. You want to call it a mullet? Call it a mullet. Let's see, what else do we have here? Good to hear from you, Witchmaster, though, seriously. He puts an exclamation point and a heart to make sure I knew he was kidding, you know. Uh, I've worn a mullet, or what they call them. Yeah, okay, so since we're talking about mullets for a moment, all right, ain't no such thing. Somebody in the New Yorker made up the thing and wrote an article about it.
Yeah.
All right. We had another term for what they called a mullet, and it would be politically inappropriate to say, but let's just say that it was a shag haircut. The second syllable rhymes with that. And it was kind of just an amusing way to call it, give me a, that's what I want. It meant you wanted your hair done in layers, as it went down. And I used to have my hair done in layers. I was a musician. I was on stage. You had to have a certain look. Now I just let it grow long and comb it back. I cut my own hair. As a matter of fact, did you guys notice I cut my hair? It was about down to here about 4 weeks ago, right? And once or twice a week. Actually, I cut more than one. I cut several of them, as you can tell. But once every 18 months, I got to hack off some of it because one side grows faster than the other and all of that stuff. So it always goes back either way. Okay, let's see. Who else did we have in here? Am I missing anybody? Shay, didn't see you. Shay's been with me for a while and rejoined. She's there. Shay, are you a Shay? I don't know what Shay is. That Shay? Shay, are you female or male? I'm not sure how to translate that. But been with me and a tribal elder for a long time. Thank you so much. Who else? Who else do we have here? Just want to make sure I'm getting everybody. I think I've got pretty much all of you.
Divining Dragon showed up.
Oh, Divining Dragon.
He was late. I was worried.
You know what? If Divining Dragon doesn't make it, we start worrying. Christian is along with Storm Cop, and here we go. Deuce is wild I can make, and then I won't name enough people. These are people who even show up before the show. Some of these people show up the day before the show, start typing in comments. I mean, it's amazing, right? All right, folks, I love each and every one of you. The mullet of destiny, says Gear Jam. I will take it. I have the mullet of destiny. Now I need a hammer to go with it. How about this? Huh? There you go. The mullet of destiny. All right, folks. I love you. I hope you're having a great weekend this weekend. If you got plans, you're going to be out, be careful. Like to see you show up on my next stream. Everybody take care of everybody, family, and all of that. This is like a family. I appreciate your financial support. I hope I gave you something to think about today. And of course, if you're seeing this stream later, please feel free to comment in it. This channel thrives on comment. And there's a lot of these fine folks that will engage with you. All right. And so will I, up to a point, and then I'm off to my next adventure, either making a video or a stream or a members only video. All right. Good to see you, Melissa, and great to see the usual gang. And I'll see you guys on my next. What's the next one? Number 35. Oh my God. 35. It'll be Tribal Forum 35. I'm Michael Noland. This is The Bottom Line. This has been the Tribal Forum where I get a chance to talk to you folks live and in the moment, and you get to watch me and see how many mistakes is he going to make tonight, Mildred, right? And I will see each and every one of you on my next stream or on my next video. Night, folks. Thanks.